Welcome, everyone. The regular meeting of the City Council of the City of Trinidad, Colorado will be held on Tuesday, April 7th, 2026 at 6:00 p.m. in City Council Chambers at City Hall, 135 North Anima Street, Trinidad, Colorado, 81082. Please turn off all the cell phones, respect, and take personal conversations into the lobby area. Counselor, would you lead us in?
Yes, ma'am. I pledge allegiance
to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
The following items are on file for consideration of council. Item 1, roll call. Kimberly?
Peters,
Yes.
Rossetti,
Yes.
Shu,
Yes.
Trahill,
Yes.
Benor, here, Williamson,
Here.
Michaels.
Here. Thank you. Item number 2, approval of the agenda. The agenda is before you all. Does anyone have any?
Motion to approve.
I'll second.
Call?
Peters,
Yes.
Rossetti,
Yes.
Shu,
Yes.
Trahill,
Yes.
Benor,
Yes.
Williamson,
Yes.
Michaels.
Yes. Item number 3, policy items and staff reports. A, lodging tax advisory board update.
Mayor, we have 2 policy updates tonight. We'd love to invite the chair of the Lodging Tax Advisory Board forward to report.
Okay.
Thanks, Joe.
Good evening, esteemed mayor, council members, and city staff. My name is Joe Kozlowitz. I'm the current sitting chair of the Lodging Tax Advisory Board. I've been involved with the board since it was reconvened under the current ordinance. At that time, that was brand new in 2023. I requested to be placed on tonight's agenda as we have received some feedback over the last year or so that council was largely unaware of board activities and the city expenditures from the lodging fund. So want to get you guys caught up on what we've been working on over the last 6 to 9 months and try and leave some time for Q&A as well. The board was largely inactive throughout 2025 due to member turnover and our staff liaison's retirement. We reconvened at the invitation of the city manager's office in August with 2 new members and 2 returning members. We finally got our 5th member just recently, only to learn one of those 2 new members from August is resigning, so we'll be looking to seat a 5th member as soon as possible. With new city management, new city staff, and new board members, we did need to take some time to get everyone up to speed. As you may be aware, lodging tax collections in 2025 were falling far below their forecasts. We were, however, already committed to a large contract with an integrated tourism marketing agency, as well as other encumbrances based on those forecasts. We were advised at the time by the city manager's office that the strategy in 2026 and 2027, if not beyond, would be to drastically cut back on the budget in order to hopefully build some reserves in the fund, and then transition from a budget process based on what was collected the previous year using the forecast method to one that is instead just based on what was collected. Sorry, I kind of mixed that up a little bit. But yeah, basically instead of forecasting ahead, we're looking to use what was collected the previous year. But we need some reserves in order to make that transition. That all makes sense to us. Board is on board with that strategy. Combined with the current ordinance and its restrictions on what portions of the fund are allowed to be spent on specific categories, it does lead to some restrictions on what we're able to accomplish at this time. While I'm not going to make a formal recommendation on changing the ordinance right now tonight, I would like to plant that seed in your minds as a possibility, one that we would have to tackle well ahead of the next budget cycle in August. So if I can get back on an agenda, we may have a formal recommendation for you guys to discuss and vote on regarding changing the lodging ordinance for 2027. In December, I came before the previous council and I defended the board itself. We do still feel that the board provides benefits both in the time we're able to dedicate and our expertise. that city staff is unable to manage on their own. The board also provides an important layer of transparency and accountability. So while we may seek to adjust the ordinance, we would prefer to keep some type of citizen board intact. In case you are not currently aware, the current ordinance structure, broad strokes, is as follows. So out of the total budget for the year, 35% is permitted to be spent on sustainable tourism marketing. So that's advertising and attracting conferences, obviously visitors, heads and beds, any related capital expenditures or meetings. 30% is for the maintenance, improvement, and development of recreational facilities and programs. 20% is personnel and expenses related to tourism, including but not limited to the Colorado Welcome Center. 10% to support art and cultural events, programs, and facilities, and 5% miscellaneous. So those percentages are informing our meetings, our strategy, and our spends. That includes the grants that we provide to local events and institutions. That's a huge part of what the lodging board does, is evaluate those grant applications and recommend the doling out of funds accordingly. Pause right there. Any questions on recent history of the board before I get into what we've been up to lately, or the ordinance itself? Cool. So Destination IQ was retained for this year. That was a previous council vote. It's under a significantly reduced contract. They are currently managing strictly our social media efforts. They have been producing some quality content. There have been some level of complications in terms of just review and oversight on that, in terms of how do we get that back out to the board. Is our city staffer paying close enough attention to what's being published, et cetera. So we're still working through some of the kinks in terms of that management, but I think their recent content has been pretty high quality. It's been getting good engagement. They also manage sponsorship of those posts, so based on our instruction for our target markets, locations, demographics, they're going out promoting the social media within those with paid ad dollars. We also worked in conjunction with DIQ and city staff to launch our new Visit Trinidad website. So if you haven't seen that, it's pretty slick. Much improved user experience and updated content, includes visitor itineraries, local business directory, and a robust calendar of events. That's actually automated currently based on the current contract. So pulling from all the local events and things getting posted out on the web and putting them all on the website. We've also been refining our strategy to supplement DIQ's work with traditional media. So we've been looking at radio, billboard, and print advertising, target markets like Amarillo and up and down the Front Range. This has been delayed repeatedly due to kind of some layers of confusion about how much autonomy the board has to actually procure ads within the budget as it stands. I did sit down with Tara last month. We kind of ironed out some of that. My current understanding is that as long as we're functioning within the breakdown of the ordinance and under the currently approved budget, that we can recommend city staff go ahead and procure those advertisements. So we're moving forward to commitment on 2 billboards, one along Highway 87 near Clayton, and then one outside of town here in Trinidad as well. And then we're still working through collecting quotes on some radio and prints throughout those target markets too. So obviously the goal is to get everything published as soon as possible. We prefer to have creative approved, February, March, looking ahead to summer visitation, but we'll be getting things out in the wild as quickly as we can. The board member who just resigned was also happened to be the one taking point on collecting quotes, so that really kind of threw a wrench into things. Lastly, we've been strengthening our grant evaluation and scoring process, so we have a more robust rubric that we're using to impartially evaluate the grant applications. We're in the midst of our Q1 grant allocations right now. That does lead me to a council request for tonight, but I have a little more background on this year's budget first. So our starting budget beginning of the year, the fund for 2026 was just under $481,000. So out of that, according to that breakdown, $168,263 for marketing, advertising, and attracting conferences. $100K of that is with DIQ on their contract. So that leaves left just under 70,000 on marketing and advertising. 96,000-ish for personnel and expenses related to tourism. The board is not really involved in managing that portion. The 144,226 for recreation facilities and programs, 48,000 for arts and culture, 24,000 for miscellaneous. So as of today, we have a number of commitments. Obviously, we're over a quarter into the year here, including some large city programs. Our 4th of July fireworks are coming out of that. Santa Fe Trail Days, some smaller events they've been putting on. Of course, the DIQ contract I already mentioned, and a couple of grants that we have already recommended awarding. So where we stand currently, on the 35% marketing advertising budget, about 57,000. Personnel and expenses zeroed. I believe that's actually a deficit of about 34. 30% recreation facilities and programming's our largest bucket, about 90,000 remaining. That may not include some recent city events I've seen, like the fishing tournament. Not a huge chunk of change, but that might not be exactly where that stands. 16,000 in arts and culture, and then 9,000 in miscellaneous. So for that remaining marketing and advertising, our general plan is as follows. Out of the 57,000 in the marketing and ad budget, we have between 15 and 16,000 allocated towards those 2 billboards. The board did vote to approve that spend today, so we're going to pursue those contracts. 10,000 towards the Denver market, so that would be a mix of radio, print advertising. 10,000 towards the rest of that 25 corridor, and then 5,000 split between Texas, Albuquerque, and then lastly $5,000 towards what are called fam trips, which is when we invite journalists to come here, put them up for the night, kind of wine and dine them. Ideally, they write an article. We can't explicitly ask for that. And a giveaway trip, so sign up online, same idea, but for a visitor instead, so they come and see cool stuff for a Trinidad weekend. So that's what we would like to spend in the next few months and probably into the fall. In terms of grants, what we're currently evaluating right now, we've received close to $80,000 in arts and culture related requests. However, the arts and culture category currently only holds 16,000. So we're kind of at an impasse there. Our overall interpretation of the ordinance is that it lists permissible uses and not necessarily restrictions on which applicants can access which bucket. City manager did request that we adhere as closely as possible to the ordinance as it stands for 2026. However, with the applications we have in hand, we're looking at vital city institutions and up-and-coming events. So A.R. Mitchell Museum, Fancy Spider Music Festival, Main Street Live, these are among the current applications we have. We ideally feel that we would prefer to fully fund those grants. So we recognize that difficult decisions often have to be made under budgetary constraints, but we would like to see if council would be amenable to allowing a one-time transfer of funds out of the recreational facilities and programming portion of the fund to arts and culture in order to support those vital events and institutions. To our knowledge, there are no major projects or events planned under the rec facilities and programs at this time, some small events and things happening. The amount we would require to fulfill the grants is $63,000. So that would leave a balance of approximately $27,000 in the recreation portion of the funds for the remainder of the year. I will also add, these are all repeat grant applicants. We see them year over year. And this pretty much everybody is on the table at this point. So we don't expect to see large grant volume through the rest of the year. These historically over the past 2-3 years are the folks that we've seen come back to the table. So yeah, that if we wipe everything out on this allocation, it kind of just is what it is. But there should be at least a little money to play with for anyone who trickles in on the grant process. So in closing, our goals remain to honor the ordinance as required, maximize our tourism impacts, and also keep supporting these organizations that strengthen our cultural and visitor landscape. while preventing maybe underutilizing any funds that we have that are intended to benefit the community. So thanks so much for listening. Open things up to any questions on that.
Does anyone have any questions for Joe?
So, I remember when sometime in the past, I mean, there was a lot of significant discussion about how well billboards worked and
Yeah.
there was a lot of questions about that. And I thought the prevailing wisdom at the time, and I'll admit the board makeup has changed a lot, but the prevailing wisdom at the time suggested that billboards were not worth the investment because they couldn't be tracked, and specifically the results couldn't be tracked. So what's caused that change, and is there any way to measure? Because I know what we were told is a lot of the online options, those results could be tracked. So
Yeah. So rest assured, we've discussed all of that at length. The overall trends in marketing, the pendulum kind of swings each way. And so we've seen a bit of return to traditional media. I think some of that is like digital fatigue. We're all getting hammered by email newsletters. We're on social media all day. You're getting blasted by ads. It's really easy to just scroll through that kind of stuff. So the key with digital is reaching an engaged audience and building through like quality content because they want to see your stuff as opposed to kind of spray and pray and blasting things out there. Generally, billboards, personally, I'm not speaking for the board there. I think it's a mixed bag. There are some ways that we can try and at least get some level of tracking. So one example would be putting a unique URL on there. So should someone see the billboard and visit it, they would only have done that if they saw the billboard. So you don't have that website published anywhere else. But there's always still going to be guesswork involved there. You can still look at your overall year-over-year trends. We haven't had a billboard in my tenure on the board at all. So some of that is a level of experimentation. The revenue trends are down. Previous tours and boards did invest in billboards. So maybe it was working. It's hard to say.
So just two super quick questions. So are you planning to have some embedded URL? And if so, is that going to be a quality website? We don't want to send people something just to track and it not be a quality link.
Well, typically you design a landing page that's unique to that content. So it's not going to be in depth, but it would be related to whatever the billboard messaging is.
You will have that then?
That's our intention, yes.
Okay. And then you mentioned 63 needing to divert that from recreation. When would you need that by?
Probably as soon as possible. I know we'll have to work through some level of process both on city staff and a formal council vote. So these applicants are in now. They're looking to support events that are throughout the year, but some of them would be upcoming, and their budget planning will depend on if they receive these awards or not. So that could definitely affect viability of some of the heavy hitters then. Typically if we had this money in hand and the board is in favor of funding these based on our scoring and discussion process, we would have recommended that to city staff at our meeting earlier this morning, and they typically fund them quickly, Tara, within a matter of a week or two.
Yeah, this is going to require some investigation. It's not under the current ordinance. What's being proposed can't happen, so we're going to have to look at how we would have to either amend or change the ordinance. I just would remind council that the previous council in their final meeting upheld the ordinance, so what the tourism board, what the lodging tax advisory board is experiencing is exactly the constraint that we were talking about last year. So I think we're going to have a conversation on how to deliver what they're asking. Also, I would say that the request of $45,000 for marketing and then additional 60-something for grants exceeds the $100,000 that we have available in the budget. And since we don't have first quarter lodging tax yet, I'm not sure I could recommend that you amend the budget to add money yet. But what I'd like to do, if it's okay, with Joe is meet with him again and let's go over it in detail.
Yeah.
And then we'll have a formal request. We may put it on a work session agenda next. I know the unfortunate thing is you've got these grants pending.
I have one more
Maybe
question.
there are
There-
things you could award now
There are
under
a
the
couple
current
that we
ordinance.
could award currently, so a good example would be the AR Mitchell. So they explicitly in their grant request state that their funds will be used for promotion. So
Oh, okay.
that can come from the marketing and advertising portion of the budget.
Sure.
Where things get more difficult, one would be Fancy Spider. That's a huge event. The board is strongly, that was our highest ranking of any grant application this period by far. And so we would be strongly in favor of funding that. They're looking for a 20K ask. That's double what they wanted last year. And it's an event with a ton of potential for the city. It has direct, immediate returns in the form of even just the artists themselves coming here and staying. So right off the bat, we know there's going to be some level of visitation for that. But we only have 16K in arts and culture, and there's no real way to bend that one around, I don't think, because their intent is to primarily use that money to pay the artists. So can't pull that out of marketing advertising, for
We
example.
might have a solution for that in that it doesn't come out of tourism. It comes out of economic development, but we need to talk about that. And I think, once again, starting with a meeting with Joe would be the first thing to do. And then we can see what they want, how we make it work under the current constraints that we have, and come back to you with a solution.
I have one more question, if I may, and then I'll be done. The 2025, you said was diminished, and that's, we know that, but is there any way to compare in other sizable or comparative markets if they saw the same retraction in tourist money being spent there? Or do we have any way to measure that? Is it an anomaly for here, unique to here, or is it across the board that happened?
My understanding is a little bit of both. And that's mostly from talking to the folks at DIQ. You know, they work with other similar municipalities and destinations. So to them, it was pretty befuddling, actually, because we've seen decreases statewide in tourism. Trinidad was significantly higher. So there were some question marks raised there by the agency folks as well as us. I'm not sure how much public data is out there. We certainly can look into it and let you guys know. But yeah, I do think there's probably myriad factors influencing that.
Well, thank you for all the time you put into it, Joe.
Thank you, Councilman and Councilwoman.
I have a few questions.
Yeah.
Okay, so on the billboard, I know that we do not yet have a brand for our city. So I had questions on the billboard. So I think you mentioned it was 16K
That's for two.
for two.
Mhm.
So where exactly are they?
One is along Highway 87 outside of Clayton, so
Okay.
it's gonna reach folks driving up from Amarillo.
Yeah.
The other one is directly outside of town. It's the former Days Inn billboard.
Okay, are they both owned by the same company?
It's separate media companies.
Separate media companies? So with the billboard that is, well, either of them, when we use those billboards, is that $8,000 a year
It's annual.
annually?
Correct.
And then how long is the term of each contract?
They're both annual terms.
So it's
it
just
would,
1 year?
it would be renewal after a year.
Is
Correct.
it an automatic renewal, or is it a renewal that we get? I mean, do we have to, like, is something
Like
gonna get
actively-
triggered, like
right.
Destination IQ?
Uh-huh.
Where
Yeah.
all of a sudden we miss the boat and now we have to do it again? I mean, do we have that all sussed out at this point?
We are currently getting the contracts in hand, so that would all be in the contract language. So yeah, don't have that for you today.
Okay,
However, we'll get a shared calendar of sorts with city staff to ensure that those dates are not overlooked.
okay. And then, so this is $8,000, is that the total projected cost for lease, installation, maintenance, future changes?
You typically wouldn't, it would be any added cost if we changed it. There's probably no reason that we would change it during the term. Billboards usually very simple message because people are driving by at 70 miles an hour. So, you know, it'll be a pretty image and a few words, and then, you know, the URL.
So do we have the content that you want to put on these billboards yet, or you're still working on it?
Still coming, yep.
Okay, and then, what I was thinking of the change might be, where are we, and I'm not even sure if you're the right board, where are we with a brand for the city?
Mhm.
Where are we at with that?
Well, we would be the right for Visit Trinidad. So historically, it's been kind of a separate brand. There were some efforts right when this board was kind of put in place in 2023 under this ordinance. Whoever was running city comms at that time was gonna kind of combine them. She had some logo concepts and things like that. So right now we're using the existing Visit Trinidad branding. It has its own logo. It does have its own colors and things like that. You can find, if you check out the Visit Trinidad website, it would give you a good idea of, you know, we would keep a thread in terms of a visual identity. That is why we were all seated by council, you know, having some level of expertise in that regard. So yeah, keeping things consistent. It's kind of table stakes, at least in terms of what we're broadcasting for Visit Trinidad. But that is separate from like the city website, city letterhead. Kind of they've lived independently. Maybe that's a larger discussion as to how much you would want to unify those. Or we have in the past talked about refreshing the Visit Trinidad brands. That's a huge undertaking, and can really take a lot of time and money as well. So don't want to write it off, but for the time being, we're kind of just steering the ship.
So the only other thing is how do you see this aligning with our lodging tax priorities for overall tourism?
Yeah.
These particular things.
Well,
What do you think they're gonna?
Well, what I keep coming back to throughout everything that we're working on is like a core ethos of the board, like trying to. I mean, heads and beds is like the number one bottom line, right? If we were like a private business or institution, you know, we'd be trying to grow that revenue, which is our fund, and so that has to inform all our decision making. And where that gets really tricky is with specific, especially the grant allocations. You know, we want to support all the great things going on in town, but some things drive visitation more than others is the bottom line. And maybe a tourism grant is not the right avenue for some of those people. So the things I've mentioned today, the grants we have in hand, you know, we talked through all those, and those are ones that we feel do influence visitation. Some may be stronger than others. We also do want to have a vibrant cultural fabric here. If someone just happens to be in town and they go out, you want things to be going on. So, but yeah, I mean, same thing going back to the advertising and whatnot. Again, billboards can be tricky to track in terms of efficacy, but they do have an impact, an immediate visual impact. It's something that puts a brand in somebody's head when they're driving by, and especially if they see them multiple times. And we were going to kind of choose between one of these options. Part of the reason we ended up with both is any Texan coming through is going to see it twice. So reinforcing that message and the Trinidad, Visit Trinidad brand. The other things we have going on, you know, same story. It's all the goal is to drive visitation and get people to come here. So.
Okay. And so the only other question I have is, how did LTAB decide on this billboard opportunity? How did that?
Well, we have two. One was self-identified. The other was presented to us by Mayor Michaels at our meeting this morning. I believe she had forwarded that on to city staff and then was informed to go through the board. So my philosophy is I leave that door open to anybody. You're welcome to request to come on an agenda and share ideas. We'll evaluate them. You know, we're already looking at billboards. And so we decided to go ahead and fit that one into the mix.
Yeah, so the Clayton billboard was the genesis. I mean, somebody came up with that idea that we should travel that way, or just
Correct.
you knew it was available?
Well, we were sitting down earlier in the year and we were trying to decide what kind of mix of things do we want to have. Do we want to go for a billboard this year or not? And so Chris, sitting over here, is one of our board members. I'd identified that one. He's from Texas, familiar with that corridor, and he's also has longstanding experience in the ad realm, so has procured billboards in the past, knows the process and all that kind of thing. So
Thank you, thanks, Joe.
yeah, thanks for
Appreciate it.
Councilman Peters?
You're getting a lot of questions.
Hey, great, lay 'em on me.
Yeah, you can.
I mean, there's a lot of money in the fund, so yeah.
You mentioned you'd like to change the ordinance. Can you explain how you would want to change it without getting in the weeds too bad?
Yeah, I mean, we haven't had any type of in-depth board discussions on that, so this would be me speaking for myself and not the board.
It's okay.
So the percentage breakdown, as you've seen from our update tonight, is overly restrictive. My biggest issues rolling it back wholesale would be, as it was promoted for the tax increase to the general public, was primarily on the outdoor rec side. So mostly, I would want to make sure that there's still leeway for the board and city staff to be able to spend some of that, beyond strictly marketing and advertising. So if that's still an option within the ordinance, I think we can accomplish a lot of those goals. So great examples would probably be, the current city programming, like the fishing tournament. My assumption is that's coming out of lodging.
It is.
So that is a cool event, gets locals out there. It's not a direct tourism draw necessarily, but it does hit on that quality of life aspect, right? And as some of you may know, I'm heavily involved in trail work, trail development around here, and I always just like to hammer on the fact that trails are not just for tourists, that's a local quality of life thing, and it bolsters all economic development. So when you have these types of things going on, it's a better place to live. You're more likely to attract people who want to open a business here because there's cool stuff to do, and there's not only facilities but also programming going on. So yeah, mostly I would want to make sure that it's not overly restrictive in the other direction. So my understanding of the previous tourism ordinance prior to this one was that it was marketing, advertising, that is it. Which also leads to some grant restrictions. So say an institution comes to us, even the Fancy Spider example, right? They're looking to pay artists. That would not have been allowed under the previous ordinance. We could have given them money to promote their events, but that's all. So that's the main thing I would personally want to see out of kind of a rollback process, but it's worth a discussion with other stakeholders.
Okay. One other question. Who's in charge of the Destination IQ, the content, what they're putting out? Do you guys supervise? Do they call you and go, hey, Joe, we got a great idea and show you something? Or do you take what is fed to you? Or I don't know anything about it.
This has been an ongoing challenge for me and for the board. So at various times we've had more and less direct influence on that. Right now, I'd say we're been pretty much kept at arm's length. Some of that is due to the budget restrictions because they don't have billable hours for us to be meeting with them at the moment. So they can't come to our monthly meetings. That would be 2 hours of their time that we're paying for. That is not included in the contract. So some of that is due to that. Some of it was previous personality drama issues between the city liaison and the staff and the board members. And so again, had kind of been kept away from any direct influence or control. And so that is not necessarily the wrong way to go about things. I think having a single point of contact is good because you're not receiving a bunch of feedback from 6 different people. But we do need to figure out some better ways in terms of approvals and review. So for example, right now, I have access to what they use for social media scheduling. So I could go in there and see what's on deck for the next month. They don't always update that. So really what we're trying to do is train up and lean on our staff liaison to accomplish a lot of that stuff, and then to keep us in the loop. So we kind of right now, the rest of the board doesn't have access to that tool, only I do. Ideally that would be a joint effort where we could all go in and mainly just pick out stuff that needs to come out. I don't want to overly direct them You know, they are the experts. Obviously, we want them to represent Trinidad with our vision. But we've had plenty of discussions on that. I think overall they're on the same page. What we do need to catch is inaccuracies or businesses that are closed, things like that, that could be detrimental, right? So by and large, you know, I kind of trust in their strategy and abilities, but I would like to reach a point where we can provide more input. That may be a moot point in the end. I have a feeling this board will recommend non-renewal, but that's to be determined during our budget discussions in July.
So for this year, this current contract period, are you happy with them?
It's a mixed bag. Overall, I probably have the most favorable opinion on the board. I think they have done a better job, and that includes with some direct feedback that I've just sent independently. In terms of the video content they're producing, that's the bulk of their posts these days. So they've adjusted that, and they've listened to some of the things we have to say. Their numbers are really good, and so, but you turn around and you look at our lodging revenues going down. So, you know, how do you reconcile those? Because the reports we get in terms of the digital efforts are all very strong. Website visitation continues to increase pretty much month over month on a consistent basis outside of, as you might expect, some downturns in the winter months. They get good engagement on the social front. What I was most impressed with is right now they're not managing our Google ads. Those are a really good way to throw a bunch of money out the window. They have super strong click-through rates, overall low costs on those, so I thought that they were managing them really well. So yeah, a lot of the stuff we've asked them to do, they've done pretty well. What I do think that they need just a firmer hand and more regular kind of touching. So again, that's something that I'd like to kind of work with our staff liaison on, because right now he's the only person talking to them with any regularity.
Okay, thank you.
Yeah, thanks.
Councilman Trujillo?
Yes, so, hey Joe.
Hey.
We've talked at length before, and we've debated this back and forth with the destination IQ. You are the chair of the board right now.
Correct.
So I don't understand why you are not the point of contact as being the chair of that board that our staff is
I'm happy to answer that if you prefer, that's up to you.
Well, yeah, I don't really know, so I'll pass it on.
So council was advised to keep the contract. You were on the council that was advised to keep the contract. The contract was cut from $300,000 to $100,000.
correct.
That cut the amount of money and reporting that Destination IQ is required to give the city. And at that time, under council's direction, we moved that contract to be managed through staff, not the Lodging Tax Advisory Board. So it was actually council who directed staff to set up the contract that way. I negotiated the $100,000 contract for that.
So
And I will invite Joe to sit with me in the second quarter report, so he's able to report back to the board. I met with them along with staff liaison in January and plan to do so again in April.
awesome.
Okay?
So what I was also looking at too, and you had mentioned about the ordinance, and we did say that we would be reviewing that this summer. So that we'd possibly be reviewing that to see where we can go with that, and I would highly recommend that we do review that ordinance. The previous ordinance, I think that was presented to council at the time, could be amended to a way that it's a lot more favorable. But Ms. Marshall had developed a very good budget that I think that would open up a lot better. So I'm hoping that soon that we'd be able to look at the whole ordinance instead of trying to nitpick and revisit over and over and over again.
Yeah, I mean, I think we'd be in full agreement on that, and a work session is probably a great opportunity to talk through a lot
I
of
believe we
stuff.
have that scheduled for July.
Wonderful, thank you. And then the other question, so, and we had asked before for quarterly updates. So I would like to make that recommendation again, if you guys are in favor of that. Again, I would like to see use quarterlies to be able to report to us so we can know exactly what's going on with it and what needs that you're needing.
Yeah, I believe, per our last meeting last month, we'll be on, as mentioned, we'll have a July work session in September, I think it was.
September to go over the budget that I've presented.
Yeah.
I can't remember if it's September, October, but it's on the schedule.
Yeah, so that's our intention. I know you guys have had a jam-packed start to this council, and I believe that was part of the reason we haven't been able to get in front of you until today. I have been requesting that as well, so it's on the way.
Okay, I appreciate that. And then there was another question that I had. So, understanding the ask of the grant was for 20,000, we have 16,000 available.
And that's a single grant. We also have, that request from A.R. Mitchell is 10K, for Main Street Live 25.
And those are all under the arts and culture.
Correct. We could work, A.R. Mitchell under marketing and advertising. So that is the way our grant is written, that we would be able to put in a different bucket.
Okay, so yeah, so 63,000, we need an extra 63,000 is what you were saying.
Yeah, that would be including A.R. Mitchell. The main reason we'd like to include that in the 63 is it leaves more money for us to pursue our other marketing and advertising efforts, as opposed to taking 10K of that towards the grant. So, yeah, again, know that sometimes you just gotta suck it up and make the tough call, but that's the vision, right?
Now, the recreation that we're referring to is the recreation section of the tourism fund, correct? Okay, not the recreation of the community, from the general fund, correct?
Yes.
So it's
This is
clear.
the recreation percentage in the ordinance for the lodging
For
tax
the lodging
advisory
tax.
board.
Mhm.
Okay, thank you, that's what I just want to clarify. I think that, Joe, I just appreciate all the work that you do. I was able to observe the way that you guys work in your work sessions. I tried to watch your meetings, and I do appreciate everything that you guys do for us. So you guys are working hard behind the scenes, and hopefully we just can keep moving forward.
Yeah, thanks. Definitely eager to get some things out in the wilds. You know, we have been doing a lot of talking, and so ready for some action. Yeah.
Great.
Thank you, Councilman.
I just have one question on the billboards. When you put them in a location, is that the location or can you move them around?
That would be, I mean, correct me if I'm wrong, Chris, but you're locked in on that contract for that location.
It could be negotiated, but you'd have to buy a new panel.
Yeah.
Now, the only reason I ask, it's not gonna happen overnight, but I know they're trying to phase out 87, and they're gonna put a highway from Dumas straight up to I-25, so if that billboard's at 87, it's not gonna do us any good.
Right.
So, but I mean, that's, who knows how many years down the road.
Right. Yeah, and this is everything we're doing right now. We're really trying to influence
Right.
the remainder of our visitation for 2026. Yeah.
Okay, thank you.
I'm a little more negative than everybody else. But there's a reason why we put those percentages, because we had a lot of issues with this board before. So that may be one of the reasons why you have a little strain on the percentages. But we set that up, and I agree with you that maybe we could make some changes, but that's why that was all set up, because money was going out the door and we weren't getting anything for it. And it was a big issue. So that's why the old council did this. And we also had an issue, and I know you didn't remember, but we did have someone come in and say that the tourism board, the tourism was down a lot, and the money and stuff, and it wasn't. And the billboards, again, we weren't really gonna put those up because of, they weren't really doing that good, because we had one in Colorado Springs that they were paying for, and it had a 30-second span on it, and nobody, while you're driving, you could miss it.
Yeah. Well, neither of these are digital. They.
No,
would be
I
fixed.
understand that, but that was some of the reasons that we had all that done. And we did have a billboard in Folsom, and I don't know if it's still there available or what, but we did have one down there, and I don't know what happened to it, but that was part of the, it wasn't a great billboard, but it was there. So I don't know if we could look and find out any information on that. Tara, do you have any?
I don't, but we would have to look in the files. Thank you.
But it was
Councilmember
right by
Street.
their museum, and it was set for that, for Trinidad. And I'm not in favor of paying $100,000. I think our staff and people in town could do a better advertisement than somebody from Denver. I just don't think that works. And that money could be used for grants and for other stuff. And instead of switching stuff around, you would have enough money to use the grants and that. So, that's my opinion, but I think that we need to work on, if we wanna change those percentages, not just add that. Maybe we should sit down in a work session and change the whole thing and make it, we had really nothing to go on before. So that's, with the board that we had before. So it seems like you guys are doing a little bit better, in fact, a lot better job of doing it than what we had before. So I think we could sit down and make some adjustments instead of, like you say, just putting here, putting there, and work it in. And we don't wanna take anything from recreation either, because we need that for trails and that. But if we could cut back into the money that we're paying for advertisement, the 100,000, what's the amount, 100,000?
Well, that's a contract.
For DX.
Yeah, I know, I mean, but I don't think we need that contract. That's something we should really look at for the future.
I'm pretty sure the board would be in favor of cancellation as well, so that's a discussion for next year's budget.
Yeah, I understand. That's my opinion. Thank you, I mean, you're doing it, like I say, you're doing a great job with the board that we had, because before we had nothing. It was really
Thank you.
a big mess.
Thank you.
Yeah, on the ordinance, potential change, I do just wanna say, obviously we'll get deep into this later, but, you know, now we have about 3 years worth, under that ordinance with those percentages, so I think that's a good way to inform our opening discussion to say, well, hey, here's what we're seeing, and where we're running into problems, so if you were to keep restrictions in place or council makes that decision, you know, where do we change in terms of the allocations, right?
Yeah, we want to work together with the board to make everything work, and for the community, what's best for it.
Thank you, Councilman. And thank you, Joe, and thank you for all the volunteers on that board that work so hard. Thank you very much.
Thanks, Joe.
And thank you very much, Chuck,
Thank you.
and the board.
Item number 3B.
Yes, Madam Mayor, we have Mr. Vigel from the Director of our Water Department here to provide you an update on the south side tank that you approved.
Good evening, Mayor, Council. Go ahead, Dale. This is part of the MFL staff. Most of you should have gotten the complete report, which is fairly lengthy. So this is just part of it. So we're very good. Thanks, buddy.
Thank you so much.
Everyone just moved to it.
I know.
Again, we're gonna put a cabinet back there, shelf. Wow.
Okay, so first on our south side tank, council approved on March 3rd of 2026, change order 13 for the amount of $70,921. It was completed for the same dollar amount, so change order 13 did not change. Change order 14 was approved for the amount of $208,288.70. That has changed, it came in slightly under. So that came in at $200,467.87, with the savings of $7,820.83. Change order 15 was approved for the owner-controlled allowance for additional floor repairs after the MFL scan for the amount of $79,300. That was completed and came in under at $59,629 for savings of $19,699.71. So the total expenditures approved on that March 3rd council meeting was for $358,509.70. It was completed for $330,989.16 at $27,520.54 less than what it was approved. The picture you're looking at, that's the MFL scan. These were the area in red are the soil-sided corroded areas recommended for repair. That was what the MFL scan came up with, which was the corrosion beneath the metal. The second sheet shows an area that was marked out in blue paint that the scan picked up. They cut that section out, and you can see the dirt attached to the bottom of the plate. The following sheet was where they blasted the dirt off of it, and you could see the obvious corrosion underneath that plate. So the MFL scan did what it was supposed to do, it picked it up, and we were able to identify the soil corroded areas. The heavily red area on that, the biggest section where there was a center, not a center, but a roof support column, they actually, your last sheet, they were able to lift that column and put 3/4 inch steel plates underneath that column and weld them to that soil corroded area. Basically taking that section back to like new again, that's originally had 1/4 inch steel plate. But all the weld repairs, the roof structure, everything has been complete. We are now on the 6th through the 11th, they're putting their final coatings on the interior. On the 13th, they're gonna do the cathodic protection. The 20th through the 23rd, the door sheet will be reinstalled, they'll weld the door sheet back on. And the 24th through the 26th, they'll do the floor coatings, which they'll do last. And on the 27th, they'll disinfect the tank. We'll start filling it, do Bacti samples, and once those come back, we'll put that tank back online. So, any questions? Oh, Mr. Peters, Councilman Peters, the MFL scan stands for magnetic flux leakage. I got that for you. And I have a complete definition of what that is if you need that, so. But, any questions at all?
Councilman, any questions?
I have no questions, thank you.
No,
Sure.
thank you, Mark.
Yeah, I got some questions. I read that all the support posts were a week lengthened thing, but I only see that one was fixed. Are we looking at all of them? Because that's kind of what I read in the report.
Yes, what we determined was to do enough repair to get us by for 10 years to replace the tank. So anything with 50% corrosion or less were identified, and those were addressed. Anything with less than 50% corrosion was not repaired. It was just to get, because otherwise we'd have to replace all the trusses, all the repair columns, the majority of the roof, which would have cost us more than building a new tank. So we just went in and did enough repair work to get us another 10 years of life expectancy out of it, so that we could replace that tank. And if you remember the last council meeting, today's cost, engineer's estimate, run about $4.6 million to replace that tank today. Today's cost. Obviously, if we wait 10 years to do it, it's going to obviously go up quite a bit. So, but the column, the floor repairs beneath that column is where the heavily corrosion was taking place. I think it's probably safe to assume that the reason that's for that, we probably had a leak in the floor that the water got underneath that hadn't surfaced outside of the floor that caused that soil corrosion beneath the north side tank. When they were blasting, they actually blew a hole through it when they were blasting it. But I don't believe water ever got to the bottom of it. We caught that one just in time. So that one got a complete rehab. So did Allendale tank. We just kicked the can too far down the road on the south side tank, and we didn't catch this one in time.
Okay. Yeah, I read that part of it. It said that's the only place that they really couldn't get a good read on the scans.
Correct.
Under the post.
Right.
Which seems like an important.
Well, the one that was bad, we replaced 3 whole sheets underneath that one post. so.
Okay, great. So, this report said they found 450 spots on the floor. Is that correct?
Yes, that's
I
probably
think
just correct.
that's what I read.
And change order 13 addressed the topside corrosion. Change order 14 is addressed the underneath corrosion post MFL scan.
Okay. I was just got confused when I was reading the scan and then reading the first change orders where we had 1,060 puddle welds. Was that prior to the scan?
Yes.
I'm just confused on
No, it's fine.
sequence.
So change order 13 was for floor repairs for the amount of $70,921. Those were all the floor repairs that were visible after the sandblasting.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, and then change order 14 was for the roof and rafter structural repairs.
Right, I see that.
Then change order 15 was for owner control allowance. Those were additional floor repairs after the MFL scan was done. So that was the underside corrosion.
Okay, got another question.
Sure.
It says on the old change order number 15,
Mhm.
the amount is based on the of 375 additional square feet of repair areas. The exact amount will be tracked and applied to this allowance at the pre-approved unit prices. I reading the reports and seeing this, how 450 spots, is that 375 square feet? I just don't know.
Yeah, so those were the areas identified, but then they went back with a pick gauge and identified anything with more than 50% corrosion were the ones that were addressed. Anything less than 50%, they just recoded over them, they didn't address them, otherwise the cost would have gone up too much. And it wouldn't have made sense to put that much money into it when we could have just replaced the tank. So we just put enough money into it to get us 5 rather than 10 years till we could replace it.
So you said that 79,000 actually went down in cost,
That's
so
correct.
it's basically less than 375 square feet, right?
Correct.
Okay. Cool. I'm good. I was just confused on some of the
Councilman
things.
Shay?
Yeah, there's a lot to that report.
Yeah, there was.
Very intense.
Councilman Shay?
What are we doing for future replacement of that tank?
What we need to do now is start planning. We're having a master plan conducted, hopefully by the end of this year. We kind of put that on pause, we got approved last year, till this tank rehab was done, so that we have better information to go into that master plan. So we need to start budgeting to start replacing this tank and going possibly after some more grant money like we've been doing. What I can tell you is, give you some rough numbers. We had, you all know we had $1 million ARPA grant, we had $1 million DOLA grant, $3.45 million state revolving fund loan, which came to like $5.45 million. Just WBS Coatings, this is the contractor that did our water tank rehab. We are right now at $4,305,000. I'm sorry, I need these, $243,18. So that's gonna leave us with roughly 1.1 million left over. Out of that state revolving fund, 2.2 million is forgiven. We only have to finance 1.2 million at 2.5% interest rate of 20-year note. So with that being said, we pretty much got the water tank rehab done with all grant money and forgiveness. The 1.2 that we have to pay back, we're gonna try to roll over and allocate to the old Sopris waterline project, which we already have a $750,000 DOLA grant to go toward that. So we're waiting on that to see how much we're going to end up with on this. So that's the good part about it. So most of the water tank rehab was done with grant money or forgiveness money. The money we have to pay back, we're gonna roll over to the old Sopris Road project.
Councilman Shay, did you have more questions?
No, other than, I don't think we should wait 10 years to replace it. I think
No.
we should get it sooner done than
Same
before,
with-
because of the money and the way things are going.
I agree.
Do we get any money from federal government for water?
Not right now. We're gonna start pursuing. We are gonna start pursuing, Councilmember Shute.
How come we haven't done that before?
We
I mean,
actually,
just-
Mark's not even telling you about a recent issue that we're working on right now, that
Yes.
is gonna be an issue with another tank,
Are you
so.
coming back more change?
He is
door?
coming back.
No more change or
No.
We're not gonna let you in that door anymore.
This one is done, but you don't wanna hear the rest. We'll fill you
We'll
in.
bring you another update.
Yeah, there's more.
We're gonna be
But not on
required
these
to.
tanks.
But it's not on these, it's from the.
Jansen tank, the 5 million gallon tank.
We're gonna be chasing a lot of money, Councilmember Shute.
Councilman Trujillo, do you have any questions?
Just to follow up, because we're looking at the cost of possibly replacing, have we entered that into water work to see where we need to be sitting at?
Not yet, that still needs to be done, now that we got final costs.
Okay, and that would give us a better picture of how much we need, where we
Correct.
need to be
Where
to
we
be able
need
to
to be.
save.
You're right.
Okay, thank you, sir, that's all I have, thank you.
Sure.
Thank you, Mr. Vehil.
Thank you, Mr. Eaton.
Thank you, Mr. Vehil.
Thank you, Mark.
Excellent job.
Petitions or communications, oral or written. Item number 4, the public comment section offers an opportunity for any citizen to express opinions or ask questions regarding city services, policies, or other matters of community concern. And any agenda items that are not part of a scheduled public hearing, citizens will have 5 minutes for comments. The time limit was established to provide efficiency in the conduct of the meeting and to allow equal opportunity for everyone wishing to speak. An immediate response should not be expected, as issues are typically referred to city staff for follow-up or research and are then reported back to council and the individual who initiated the comment or inquiry. Written materials for presentation to council must be submitted to our city clerk as the speaker approaches the podium. And today, we have Hugh.
Good evening.
Welcome, Hugh.
I have a couple of questions here. I can't seem to get to, the only time I can get to talk and get answers, have a conversation, is when I run into any of you on the street. You know, when I come in here and I have a question, I can't get it answered. And I don't want, it's not right for me to just go knocking on your doors, you know, that's just not right, so I won't do that. But I thought maybe from the, what I've looked up about the city councils is that you guys have the choice. It's even been suggested to me by a number of you council members that this Robert's Rules of Order can be, that's a choice that you've made, and that you can all vote on it and not have that Robert's Rules of Order, so you can actually have conversations with us and give us answers when you can, when without, you know, sometimes you can't, sometimes you gotta think about it. So I suggest that you have a vote on that, but that's just a suggestion.
Thanks, Hugh.
Okay, and my other issue was, I've been told that the city is considering taking over the garbage trucks, whatever you call it, you know. And because it would save us money. Well, I don't see it saving anybody money. Usually when the city gets involved, or the state, or the county, or the government, it ends up costing money. So if that's really on the books, or somebody just pulling my leg, you know, I don't know. But that's my opinion on that. So I would like to get some answers and have conversations with you here, but it's up for you guys to do.
Thank you, Hugh.
Okay,
Okay.
thank you.
Thanks, Mr.
I would just remind council that we hold our public listening sessions so that we're able to have that kind of exchange outside of our business meetings.
Okay, thank you, Ms. Marshall. Item number 5, council reports. Andy, you want to start our,
Sure.
Councilman Trio?
So, I was able to testify on HB 26-1334. I can't believe it became fruitful, but at least we gave it a shot.
Yeah.
But I do have a concern in the statement that I have prepared. Coming to light with some issues that happened today, and I police the boards quite a bit. That is one of the things that I've been working on for the last couple of years. And I believe this is the statement that I prepared. It's just easier for me to read this. So I believe the Lodging Tax Advisory Board deals with issues that directly affect lodging businesses. I believe when a single council member meets one-on-one with that board, especially when that council member owns lodging properties, it can easily give the impression that personal business interests are influencing the discussion, even if the meeting is properly noticed. That concern becomes stronger when that same council member is also promoting a specific project, like a billboard, paid for with lodging tax funds, and is asking for or encouraging support from the advisory board. In that situation, it can feel less like oversight and more like advocacy, and it blurs the line between serving the public and serving private interests. City council is meant to act as a group, not as individual members, acting on their own. Advisory boards exist to give independent advice to the full council, without pressure or influence from any one council member. I respectfully ask staff to look at ways to make sure that council interactions with advisory boards happen as a group in writing or through staff. That council members with direct financial interests step back from related advisory discussions, and that advisory boards are protected from even the appearance of pressure or influence, either intentional or unintentional. I would also defer to the city attorney to confirm that current practices reflect strong ethical standards and good governance. Thank you. That's all I have for my report today.
And I would like to respond to that. Just as a point of clarification for the public record regarding the role of the mayor's office. In our council manager form of government, my duty as mayor is to serve as the chief ambassador for Trinidad. When community leaders like Victor, Tara, and the tourism board invite me, not me invite myself, to speak, or when Senator Bennett's office comes to town like last week, it is my responsibility to show up, listen, and advocate for our city. I do not make unilateral policy decisions or bind the city financially at these meetings. These powers are strictly belong to this council and as a voting body. My daily networking and advocacy do not require prior council notice, but bringing that information back to you all is exactly why I provide comprehensive council reports during our meetings. I am always happy to share the exciting things happening in our community with this body and with everyone. I do everything I do with love for the city and have been involved on the tourism board for 20 years. I did not ask to go to that meeting. They invited me to find out history, and I let them know about history. Manny,
I don't believe, we could turn this into a debate. So, going back to the boards that we appoint them as a group.
This is not,
Yeah,
this is
not
this is
appropriate.
council.
I know, but
report.
yeah, that's what,
That's,
Not
it's not.
So,
Just make the council
I gave my
reports.
report, and then we were able to respond, so that created a debate. So let's not do this here. I think the next thing we need to do is request an
Point
executive
of order,
session.
Manny, point of order. Do you have anything else you'd like to report?
No, I actually said I was done, thank you.
Okay.
Um,
Councilmember Zeddy?
I have nothing to report, but I would like to thank whoever took down the four-way stop signs on Nevada and Arizona. The city dodged a real bullet there. They were not done to code, they were illegal, and it could have been a really bad liability for the city. So whoever took them down, thank you, I appreciate it.
Thank you, Councilmember
I
Shin.
have nothing to report on, other than we'll be at a meeting Wednesday, me and Aaron. So,
Yay.
if you show up.
I'll be there.
No, okay, I just,
I have,
I know you will.
Councilman Williamson?
I have no report, Mayor. Looking forward to meeting with Councilman Shu at the community interaction meeting.
Yes.
What time is that?
Councilwoman Benora, oh, sorry.
I'm sorry.
What
time
6
is it?
p.m.
6 p.m.
6.
6 p.m.?
Yeah, I have a brief report.
Uh-huh.
I just wanted to say that I attended the tour of the gas facilities, which was really informative, and I wanted to thank the gas department staff and everyone who put that together. I also provided testimony to the legislature in support of HB 261334, and that is a bill that would delay having to adopt the state wildfire resiliency code or the WUI code. So I'm hoping that that does go through. It would buy us a year to have to make that decision. And I also reached out to all the committee members and our legislators, Ty Winter and Rod Pelton. It really kind of underscored how important it is for us to stay engaged with legislative opportunities and to weigh in on those. So I learned that. And then lastly, I did want to say next month's Veteran Coffee will be held as usual on the first Wednesday, May 6th at 10 a.m. But it's going to be outdoors at Sister Blandina Wellness Gardens. So everybody should show up and support the veterans and have a cup of coffee. And that's my report. Thank you.
Thank you. Councilman Peters?
A couple months ago at me and Danny's listening session, I got approached by a citizen. And this has something to do with the condemned house, with all the trash and everything over there off University. It's now been almost 2 months since then, 6 weeks since the council meeting that we were told that it's gonna be torn down and taken care of. I've been driving it by it every day on my way to work, and all there is piles of crap, piles of trash blowing in the wind. Nothing's changed, 6 weeks. It's kind of embarrassing. So, that's it.
I'd like to start out my report first with commending our first responders. I want to start my report tonight by talking about the incredible bravery and rapid response the Trinidad Fire Department and our local emergency crews have done with the fires over the last few weeks. They rescued individuals from a burning home and managed with the major crash, and I can't thank our first responders enough that are here tonight. In regards to legislation, the House Bill 261334, City Manager Tara and I were vigilantly monitoring the Colorado Municipal League policy regarding that, and it failed today from 7 to 6, if the public didn't know. I did meet with Senator Bennett's office. I had a direct meeting with Jacob Topping from Senator Michael Bennett's office, who reached out to me before they got to town. He was stationed at the library during his visit to Trinidad to ensure our infrastructure and community priorities remain a priority at the federal level. I had a really highly productive meeting with Emma Howard, the Senior Manager of Strategy and Special Projects for the Colorado Office of Economic Development and International Trade, discussed Trinidad and the strategies for our city. They welcomed me into that meeting and asked me to attend to let me know what was going on. I officially registered for numerous continuing education classes with CML that I understand Annie and Carmela are also in June that we have to take. I want to take a moment to also publicly herald Marky Davis and her entire chamber team. I met with her at her office recently, and there's outstanding work in bringing back the chamber back and the Chenoweth. It's an absolute honor with what they're doing. With water being a critical resource and highly relevant to our miscellaneous business agenda item tonight regarding our water augmentation lease, I wanted to note that we are actively monitoring the state's recent public notices regarding proposed aquifer exemptions in our region. The city manager, Tara, and I have been in email discussions with Jennifer Kramos, Vice President of the Trinidad Railroad Museum. She's interested in the train that sits next to here, so Tara will have continued conversations with her. I think this Friday will be in her reports. I've got invited and asked for, through the tourism board and through Tara, to provide a back report detailing our inner area marketing and what we did in the past and how that could affect them. They wanted to know some of the ideas that we had done in the past, and they did, again, ask me to come. I was approached by Mike McDaniel, who's putting together a list of historic buildings for guided tours this summer. It is incredibly inspiring to hear our local grassroots community coming up with more ways for people to have their experience here in Trinidad. I also participated in a CCI Zoom session that not only had to do with our session in June, but also in August that they're talking about. I'm proud to announce that Bob Hamlin, president of the Colorado Optimist Club, that was in Pueblo March 31st, will be arriving in Trinidad this Thursday afternoon and taking a tour and spending the night in our city. His visit is dedicated to helping our local Youth Optimist Board bring vital resources to empower the children of our city. I attended the COG Early Learning Center meetings for small children with challenges that happened at Mount Carmel. Seeing their specialized care for small children with disabilities was profoundly moving to me, and it's really great of another level of COG that we have in our town. I attended the First Friday Art Walk at the galleries were especially well appointed and fantastic. A special mention to the Mitchell, who had great food, great talk, great everything. They did a great job. I attended and spoke a moment at Kit Carson Park. It was wonderful to see so many lovely families out with the Easter egg hunt. I thank the Church of the Nazarene for putting on such a great time for our youth. There were 100 to 125 people there. The kids were so cute. And I got to tell them that Tony was giving them free ice cream cones if they go down there. It was great. Anyway, when I read through what everybody's doing for the city, when I hear what the boards are doing, when I know what the city has done, I just want to say thanks to Tara, Kimberly, Felicia, Audra for all the extra work beyond their normal work that they are taking on for the city of Trinidad right now. And we are really working to get more done for the city and for our residents. And thank you all.
Can I ask a question? How, this is just because I don't understand how this works procedurally. How do we call for an executive session if we want?
One of you could ask me, and some of those I will ask for 2 council members to have buy-in, but, and Tara can also, field requests from you guys, but you can make a request and we'll make it happen.
Okay.
Especially for 2 of you.
Most of the time, if it's for legal advice, I defer to Les. If it's for the purchase or acquisition of property, or it's related to a review of one of us, or the 2 employees, I'll usually put those on the agenda, but if it's for legal advice over something specific, I usually defer to the city attorney,
Okay.
and he places it on the agenda, but either one of us can do that.
Okay, thank you. Thank you.
Item number 6, consent agenda approval. The consent agenda can be adopted by a simple motion. The consent agenda will be read aloud prior to a vote of the motion. Any consent agenda may be removed from the consent agenda at the request of a council member for individual consideration. Does any council member wish to speak for any individual consideration? Do you want to make one motion? Anybody have any problems with? Okay, then we would need a motion.
For the consent agenda, I make a
For the-
motion.
Okay.
Second.
Kimberly?
Peters,
Yes.
Rosetti,
Yes.
Shu,
Yes.
Trahell,
Yes.
Benor,
Yes.
Williamson,
Yes.
Michaels.
Yes. Thank you. Item number 7, public hearings. Public hearing for consideration of an ordinance renaming Field C at Southside Park of the Coach Velarde Sports Complex to the Pete DeLuca Field. This is the second reading of the ordinance renaming Field C at Southside Park of the Coach Velarde Sports Complex to the Pete DeLuca Field. I now say the public hearing is open.
Good evening, Mayor, Council. So I went through this pretty extensively last time, so I'll be brief this time. This is for Field C, at Southside Park, the Coach Velarde Sports Complex. Coach Suazo petitioned to change that Field C to be renamed in honor of Mr. Pete DeLuca, to recognize Mr. DeLuca's contributions to the community and the local athletics. The field is owned and operated by the city of Trinidad. Trinidad State College softball team is the primary user during the academic year, and then the Little League Baseball uses it during the summer. It's the field has a little more improvements on it as far as the dugouts go. It has a really nice scoreboard. The naming commission, which is the planning commission, recommended approval on the February 10th, 2026 regular meeting. And the proposed ordinance formally designates the name as Pete DeLuca Field and authorizes staff to update signage. There was one requirement from the planning commission that said the cost of the signage would be at the cost of the signage would be at the cost of the petitioner. A little bit about Mr. DeLuca. He was a native of Trinidad, graduated from Trinidad State College, served in the Air Force, was a member of the Colorado Sports Hall of Fame selection board, and a longtime supporter of Trinidad athletics and community programs. Unfortunately, Mr. Suazo he was here, he had to leave, he had another commitment, but I believe last meeting he did a really nice testimony. I think those minutes should be attached to your packets as well. Just a little bit more about Mr. DeLuca. That's all I have. Any questions for
What
me?
is the pleasure of council?
Mayor, can you please ask the public if there's anyone that wants to make comment?
Thank you.
Would anyone else like to make comment on the Pete DeLuca Field rename? No? What is the pleasure of the council?
You could close
Close.
You could read the second read.
The second reading of an ordinance renaming Field C of Southside Park of the Coach Velarde Sports Complex to the Pete DeLuca Field.
I make a motion that we accept that.
I second.
Kimberly?
Peters,
Yes.
Rosetti,
Yes.
Shu,
Yes.
Trahell,
Yes.
Benor,
Yes.
Williamson,
Yes.
Michaels.
Yes. Item number 8, miscellaneous business. A, board and commission interviews.
Mayor, we have Nathan Mays here to interview for the Parks and Rec Board. Great.
Nathan?
Thanks for having me. Members.
Pardon me?
Yeah.
Yes?
Yeah, I'm here for, try to get us on Parks and Rec Advisory Board. Born and raised here, graduated, high school here. I believe in public service, although I don't know a lot about what this particular board does. I love the outdoors. I will be, committed, active, receptive, nonpartisan, and that. I mean, what else do you want to know?
Well, we'll ask you some questions.
Okay.
Would you like to start with Councilman Williamson?
What past experience do you have that you think would contribute to your position on the board?
Well, at university, I was a member of a leadership practicum where we did a whole lot of volunteer work, whether it be sexual awareness, we handed out condoms, we participated in like the rehab center type of thing, we promote awareness, out of Columbus. Although I don't have any particular experience within government itself, doesn't mean I'm not open to learning and like I said, and being a dedicated public servant. You know what I mean?
Okay, do you have any questions?
I have no further.
Councilwoman?
So have you not served on any have you served on any committees or anything like that while you were in Texas?
Not at an official capacity, no ma'am.
Okay.
This would be the first.
No, that's all I have. Thank you.
Councilman Peters?
I'm good.
Okay.
I'm good, thanks.
I appreciate that.
Councilman Trudell?
Hey, Nathan,
Hey.
hey, with the Parks and Recreation Board, are you familiar with some of our sports programs?
The youth program, the baseball, t-ball, yeah, the AYSO soccer, what else do we do here? Now it's at new tennis for people that don't wanna run. And then we have a lot of, I don't know what it's called. Pickleball. Sorry, pickleball, anyway. Yeah, tennis for non-athletic people, pickleball. And then we have a lot of, people that utilize the trails for walking their dogs. You know, we have, that's a dog park here, but, what I'm not familiar with, when I came home, going to learn.
Nathan, I thank you very much for your interest. Thank you so much.
No questions, I just wanna thank you for stepping up.
Yeah.
Appreciate it.
that, yeah.
Have you attended any of the meetings?
Not yet, but I have spoken with Marty up at the community center and, kind of just touch base with what he does. I guess he's stepping down.
Yeah, right.
But, no, I have not yet. I don't even know when the meetings are, but
That would be a good idea to find out when they have them and attend one, that way you can have an idea.
yeah,
of what goes
I
on.
have ample time. I will be committed to meetings. I'm not gonna miss meetings, not gonna send proxy to meetings, anything like that.
Thank you for putting it.
You're welcome, thank you.
Thank you, Nathan, also for putting in. On your groups of activities that you currently participate in, you had the Knights of Columbus,
Yes, ma'am.
Los Animas County Republicans, and I'm sorry, I couldn't, what is that other group?
The Wheaton Agency, it's just more active nights. We get involved in.
Oh, it's in the Knights of
Yeah,
Columbus.
with financial issues regarding fellow knights or regarding aspects of people in need.
Uh-huh.
And with the Republican Party, I helped a good friend of mine, Ty Winter, all along the process, advocate for him, for what he does, stand up for what he believes in, and just make sure that, that we just don't detach once we vote for somebody, that we stay involved with the process.
Mhm. Thank you, Nathan.
You're welcome.
Thank you.
Okay,
Thank you.
great.
Is that it?
That was it?
That was it.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Good job.
Thank you, Nathan.
Item number 8C, consideration of a water augmentation lease.
We have
one more.
8B.
A B. Consideration of appointment to the Parks and Rec Advisory Board.
Madam Mayor, we have 7 members of this board with 1 seat open. Nathan is the only applicant at this time.
Okay.
Thank
Should we consider that application? Is that what, there's a motion? There's consideration of Nathan Mays, who just spoke with us, for consideration of appointment to the Parks and Recreation Advisory Board.
Make a
Motion
motion that
starts.
we
Who
accept
starts?
his application.
I second.
Call?
Peters,
Yes.
Rosetti,
Yes.
Shu,
Yes.
Truhill,
Yes.
Lenore,
Yes.
Williamson,
Yes,
Michaels.
Yes.
Thank you, Nathan.
Thank you.
thank you.
Thank you, thank you. 8C, consideration of a water augmentation lease agreement with John Leatherland.
Mayor, council?
Haven't seen that name before.
Key ask for consideration of a new 15-year water lease augmentation agreement for Mr. John Litterman. The leasee wishes to lease water from the city of Trinidad to augment a small pond upstream of the Trinidad Reservoir on the Purgatory River Pond. If approved, the new 15-year lease includes an increase in lease price of 3% a year, which is seen in Exhibit A. Additionally, a late fee of 10% on the current price will be assessed based on the price for that year. The city will lease to leasee 1.5 acre feet for the initial fill of the pond, and then 1 acre feet a year to cover evaporative losses on an annual January 1st to December 31st basis. This lease may only be used to augment depletions for the pond and for no other purposes. Joe Ramirez presented to City Council at a work session on July 7th, 2025 regarding water augmentation agreements. The new augmentation water lease agreement is attached for your review and consideration. Any questions?
I have questions. So I'll let the mayor.
Let's,
Mr. Litherman is here in case there's any questions that I cannot answer. He's present.
okay, thank you. We're gonna just go down the line here.
Thank you. Mark, I don't really have much questions. I will defer to you because you are the expert. Are we able to fulfill this lease?
Currently, yes. In fact, let me put my glasses back on. If you go to page 2 of the water lease agreement, number 8, no guarantees or warranties. Because of the possibility of drought, mechanical failures at Trinidad Reservoir, or any other extraordinary circumstances, the city cannot guarantee delivery of water. If the city cannot deliver the 1.5 acre feet of the initial fill of water to the leasee and or the 1 acre foot of water per year to cover evaporative losses, the city shall refund to leasee the fee for any water paid for and requested in any year but not delivered at a rate of the then current price per acre foot as detailed in Exhibit A. Such a refund shall be leasee's sole and exclusive remedy against the city for any breach or non-performance of any obligation under the lease. So currently, we do have the water, is water stored in the Trinidad Lake Reservoir. If we're looking like drought, depending on how things end up, we can cut that off not only to this leasee, but anybody else that has a current lease agreement with us. Everything's in the contract.
Thank you. And one other question, our standard for maximum leases is 15 years, correct?
That is our standard, 15 years.
Okay, I appreciate it. Thank you so much, sir.
Only question I have is, the acreage fee charge all the same for up the river, down the river?
It is, it's $1,000 per acre foot.
Okay.
That's the standard.
Everybody pays the same?
That's correct.
All right, thank you.
Sure.
And is this a new RC
This
lease
is
before?
This
Or
is
just
a brand new
renewal?
lease, brand new lease. Correct, it's not an extension, it's a new lease.
What is the purpose of the pond?
The, recreation, I believe, if you may want to come up, please.
Sure. Good evening. The pond would be for recreation. We'd also like to have some livestock that would be able, the pond would be available for them. We have a lease at another ranch nearby my property where we have cattle, and you know, at times we'd like to have wild baby calves up there, things like that. So it would have multiple purposes. You know, does that answer it?
Yeah, I just.
Councilman Peters?
So is this a standard lease package that goes with the water leases? I mean, is it pretty much just fill in the blanks? They're all the same?
Yes, what we've done, if you, our past leases that are still current, all the language is not exactly the same. So what we've done now is we have all of our leases from moving forward all have the same template. That way we don't have, well, why did this person have this, why did this first person have that? They're all the same now. The only difference is what they're using the water for.
Okay.
But yes, this is the standard lease agreement that we are moving forward with. We've been here recently.
Okay. Does everybody that has a lease have that 3% increase every single year?
Starting January, these new ones do. The previous do not. They were just $1,000. They used to be $500 an acre, but we increased that to $1,000 per acre foot a year or two ago.
Okay.
And everybody that comes on now with the new lease or renews them will have this current contract moving forward.
Is there an ordinance or anything related to this price increase?
I don't
The
believe
new
it's an ordinance,
3%
that's just an
annual-
agreement, an ordinance, it's just an agreement.
Just an agreement?
Yes.
Okay. Okay, you already asked the downriver, everybody pays the same.
Everybody pays the same, $1,000 per acre foot.
And this drought clause, that's standard on every
That is
lease
correct.
agreement? Okay, it's all good.
Councilwoman Dorr?
I have mostly the agreement questions.
Sure.
So the first one is, I notice the agreement skips from paragraph 13 to 15. Has something been taken out, or is it just a numbering error in the agreement?
That's a good question, I don't know.
Okay. I just noticed that was in there.
Yeah, I don't know. It
Okay.
could be a typo.
Didn't know something
Lions
substantive got
Gaddis,
removed. or-
yeah, Lions Gaddis is our water rights attorney that drafts the contract, so that's a good catch. I will ask about that.
Yeah, I'd like to say other lawyer.
Other lawyer.
Yeah.
So I have other catches.
Yeah, Madeline is our water
Critique
rights,
other lawyers.
Madeline is our water rights attorney.
So, okay,
That
well,
could just be
you
a
may
typo,
wanna
it should
take
be
notes.
14. Yeah.
I'm looking that up right now.
Okay, okay.
Okay.
So another one is in the payment for number 2, item 2, payment clarity, it says year 1 total. But then exhibit A just shows the $1,000. It doesn't show the initial 1,500 on the exhibit sheet of payments for each year. It just starts out with the $1,000. So I just wanted to make sure it's clear from a contractual standpoint that it's gonna be 2,500 that first year. So that's in item 2.
May I clarify that, Megan?
Sure.
I've already delivered the check to the city. I don't know where it's being held for the 2,500 and to include the first year's
Okay.
augmentation fee as well. And so, someone, possibly Trinidad's attorney, is holding that check now.
Okay, I'm just a contract.
Look at me.
I contract
Nobody
rules,
gives me,
what
I'm
it says,
sorry,
I
I'm
just look
sorry.
at it. Okay, this is kind of substantive to me, is number 3, the late fee. The agreement states it's a 10% penalty compounded monthly. It doesn't say annual or
No,
annum.
so-
So it's not gonna be $103 a month on late payments, is it?
So if their payments are due by January 31st.
Right,
So if they don't pay till the end of February 1st, it'll be 3% for that month. If they don't pay for 6 months later, then it's gonna be 3% per month. So it'll be 3 times 6 with 18% after that. If they don't pay till July, so it's 3%. If you follow
every
what-
month?
If they
Compounded?
take 6 months to pay, then it's not just it's 3% compounded monthly. So,
So on let me just,
Go ahead.
on $1,030 payment, which is the second year, let's say he doesn't pay
Correct.
for some reason. The late fee for the first month is $103.
it'd be 3% of it, yes. And if he's, don't pay till the end of, what, 2 months later, then it'd be 6%.
Compounded on the
It'd be
103 would
6%.
be, okay. Okay, okay.
And
That's-
may
that's a
I
steep
answer the other
penalty,
question?
but-
Generally, the water commissioner will contact Mr. Vigil at a certain time, close to April, and if the lease has not been paid, then the water will not be released.
That's correct.
So the compounding is really over a 3-month period.
Okay.
to receive the water for the year.
Just seemed a little user there, okay.
That's one. I want to clarify number 13, which is the clause that is in the leases that are not new. This is a brand new lease.
Okay.
Clause 13 is cancellation of previous leases.
I see.
It would read, upon execution of this lease, any and all previous leases executed by the parties shall be terminated. And then we would say, if you had one, specifically the lease that ends on such and such date and such year.
Thank you.
So because this is a brand new lease, clause 13 is not required.
Okay, thank you.
Okay, sure.
So then on number 7, it says approval and city involvement. The agreement states the city will cooperate with the lessee in obtaining required approval. What does that entail, and is that gonna entail a lot of city
Where's
staff?
you reading on 7 on the lease agreement?
Yes, sir, yeah.
Okay, what's your question?
The question is, it says in there that the city will cooperate with the lessee in obtaining required approvals. So how will we, so does that mean we're gonna help them obtain those approvals, and does that put any strain on our staff, or does it include legal stuff? What does that include if we have to do that?
I want to see what
Go
you're
ahead.
reading there.
It's okay.
So, depending on, no, these are great questions. Depending on what the use is, for example, if it was a fish hatchery, then there may be certain agricultural information that has to be done with wildlife.
Right.
That in this case is not there. Our water operator of our water treatment plant, who also works for Mr. Vigo and manages our water rights, has a help with, by helping identify what particular additional regulations are gonna have to be done.
Okay.
Mr. Vigil, do you agree with that?
Yes.
That's what that clause says.
So it's just kind of a cursory.
It is a courtesy help, so we would say, prior to us bringing an augmentation lease to city council, you will need to seek approval through Colorado Wildlife, you will need to seek approval for Army Corps of Engineers, it depends on what the use is. We've had a variety of uses, I believe one that came up in December was a resort that's being operated, and it was additional water to support that, so it would just depend on the use. In this case, Mr. Vigil, has anything additional been identified? We wouldn't have it here if the approvals weren't already done.
Right, and 1 acre foot, just if anybody don't know what 1 acre foot is, it's basically an area of 1 acre, 1 foot deep. About the size of a football field, minus the end zones. That's just to visualize what an acre is. The size of a football field, 1 foot in height. So if you're 10 feet deep, it's obviously that, it's a small pond. It's not a lot of water.
Okay.
But that's what an acre foot is. 1 acre, 1 foot tall, that's an acre foot.
Thank you.
Okay.
All right, one more question. So in the default, the only breach was payment. Is there any other addressing of breach, like for misuse of water or failure to comply? Or are we just relying on general contract law if something like that?
That's Mr. Daniels?
Yeah, ask the question again, please.
So for number 8, where there's just one breach clause, that just says breach, and I think it refers to payment, are there any other breaches identified, or do we need to, or do we rely on just general contract law?
Yeah, absolutely, general contract principles, and I think that is the main obligation for, the lessee in this case, is to pay as agreed.
Okay,
We deliver water, he pays, and those are the permit, but good question.
thank you very
Absolutely.
much.
Sure.
Appreciate it, okay,
All good questions.
all I got.
Those are all the same questions I have.
Yep.
You're welcome. That's not true. Actually, I have one question, and it's purely curiosity, to be honest. What's the actual mechanism of delivering that water?
Of doing what?
Of delivering that water? I mean, it's not through a pipe. I mean, how?
It's just a transfer and paper, basically. We have water storage at the Trinidad Lake Reservoir, and if we don't have room to store it, we'll sell it to the Tributary River Conservancy District. Like, we just owned 300 acre feet last year, if we can't store any more water. This is just water we have stored, it's just a transfer.
Okay.
So the delivery would be, they would pull the water out of the river at the top. We would release it downstream to go on
Okay,
downstream.
that's.
Yeah, it's just an
Okay.
exchange.
I have no questions.
How do you get the water to your pond?
I can answer that. We have a spring on the property, and we will put a small cistern in, and then we will use a pump or a pipe to transfer the water into the pond that we're gonna construct. We had an engineering firm go through this, and then below the pond, there's another spring. And so basically, we're moving water from one spring into our pond, and then it'll basically end up back in the watershed. Every drop of water, ends up somewhere. And so we're just borrowing it for a moment, and then it goes back into a secondary spring back into the watershed.
Water rights are complicated.
Yeah.
Very complicated.
Conservation is appreciated.
Oh, that was interesting. From springs. You're getting all the water from a spring that's on your property already.
Yes, sir.
But you have to come here and get a.
And purchase it from you, that's correct.
Every drop of water is accounted for.
Every drop belongs to somebody.
Even though it's
Whatever
coming
is
up on your
good
land,
property,
Yes, exactly.
I get it.
Kansas claims the water that's from us, so, yeah.
Thank you, Mr.
Interesting.
Thank you, Mr. Behill. and
Thank you,
Mr.
guys.
Okay.
Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Beal. Thank you.
Okay, item number 8D. Nope, we got consideration on here.
I'll make a motion to consider the 15-year water lease to Mr. John Litherland.
Second. Call.
Peters,
Yes?
Rosetti,
Yes.
Shu,
Yes.
Trudell,
Yes.
Benor,
Yes.
Williamson,
Yes.
Nichols.
Yes. Item number 8E, consideration of the request for bid RFP submitted by Trinidad Construction.
Mayor, if we could do D first, D is in darling.
Oh.
Thank you.
Somehow I got messed up there. Consideration of the request for bid submitted by EDG Construction for the curb cuts and sidewalk Phase 6 project, number 03-2026.
Good evening, Mayor, members of council. We basically, this job is a project that's, we're calling it our Phase 6, continuation of our ADA curbs, ramps, sidewalks. We had 2 bids on this project. They were both relatively close. EGD was at $195,707.50, and then the second bid was Cedar Ridge out of Pueblo, which was $208,267.50. The primary part of this work is on Linden. We started rotor milling last fall. There's a broken valley pan we need to fix. There's curb and gutter. There's additional sidewalks. Both ends of the sidewalks on the bridge that crosses over the river have settled. We need to fix that. So and it's emphasized in the construction drawings that we got to do that first, because we're going to jump, as soon as that's done, we want to get a pavement project out with Linden leading off the front end of the paving projects this year. Then we're moving up to Saddle Road and County Road. We have a couple corners at Nona and County Road, which is basically Dr. Joe and Simpleman's house and Marty Hackett. If you drive through that T intersection, you run into his house. Not Hackett, Marty Coca, excuse me. And then there's an extension of sidewalk that basically runs down along Saddle Road. We're trying to, eventually, if we get our trail project going on Santa Fe Trail, we'll have connectivity where we can bump off of the Santa Fe Trail and get into that subdivision. And then there's a couple corners up on San Juan. It's the continuation of what we did last year. We have already some improvements done, and we need to do the next corners at Western, so that we can basically continue on going up San Juan with the paving project. As you know, per ADA, curb gutter sidewalks have to lead the way before paving, and that's what we're trying to do. We're just trying to stay ahead of it. So, and then I think we have some miscellaneous projects that water, gas is done throughout the city. We have to go back in and replace curb gutter and sidewalks at just short pieces throughout So it's kind of a concrete project. It's basically what it is. Curb gutter, sidewalk, and ramps. Questions?
This is budgeted in the capital improvement line item, under ADA.
Correct.
Councilman Williamson, would you like to start?
I know we've recently been awarded the other project, and you've probably been in communication with them. Is there any concern about project overlap, ability to service both projects, anything like that?
It's a very good question, and I asked him that. He assured me that he's got additional staff. He's hired other people. That's what he told me, so he feels confident. I can tell you that he's working. His concrete guy is Ruben Tenario. Very good concrete finisher, used to work for PVC. So I suspect that Eric will probably be out on the lead doing demolition, and then Ruben will follow with doing the placement of curb gutter sidewalk. So for information today, we have the notice of proceed goes out for fleet drainage and storm sewer. It goes out tomorrow, so the clicker on that project starts. So he's very aware of the projects and the demand.
I think, I was gonna ask, it is east garage door.
Correct.
So I don't know if it matters or not, but we need to change it in the notes. It's EDG, it should be EGD.
Oh, thank you.
But
Thanks.
But yeah, I think they do good work, so it sounds like you've covered the bases there, and I think
I'm
also
sorry, Councilman Williams, we're at,
in the agenda, just
On the agenda, we misnamed it.
Oh, okay.
in the event that it matters, I mean, for the record. But I think also, at least from my experience in putting out RFQ, RFP, whatever process you're using, I mean, those two bids are fairly close, so it indicates, I would say, a well-written process there and yielding good results. So I appreciate that. I have no further questions, Mayor.
Thank you. Councilman Moore?
I have no question.
Councilman Peters?
I got questions, but last time I asked questions, I got an email that said to shut up. So, no question.
Who'd you get an email from? Who'd you get an email from?
That'd be me.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, I hope I
Just
didn't say
curious.
it like that.
Councilman Shu?
That's what I read.
I don't have any questions other than, no, because I have a question later I wanna ask you on, the Morris Road. Are they gonna repave that? Is that in the plans? Cause they tore that road up to,
we have basically 500,000 budgeted for paving this year. Linden is our top priority. And I think I have a spreadsheet back at the office, and I think that's around 200 plus or minus for the paving. So then we have 300,000 allocated for additional paving. I wanted to continue east on Main Street from the mid-block by Danielson, but that discussion is it's up to.
We haven't, staff hasn't fully discussed that project. Can we
We're
come
gonna
back
go
to
ahead
you?
and come back
Be
to
glad
you.
to come back to you
Yeah.
with that.
okay, that's fine.
Yeah.
Councilman
Yeah.
Rossetti?
One thing I noticed in all of these bids is the demo that's being taken to the landfill, it's not being charged out. And I think that's something we have to do on all of these bids, because the worst customer the landfill has right now is the city of Trinidad. We take in that demo and then end up hiring somebody to crush it. And it's not right. I think from now on, we have to start putting that in the project. I'd like to see that.
Thank you.
All right?
So, as you know, the landfill used to be an enterprise, and a couple of years ago, it switched back from the enterprise back to the general fund. So, if we do put that in there, we're basically, we're paying ourselves, as we look at it.
Yeah, I understand that, but I don't know how this works. If the PD writes a ticket and somebody pays a fine, does that money go in the general fund?
It does. So we've asked for, on this and some other subjects, like we'd like to bill the capital improvement fund for the engineering time that we're working in the engineering world.
And
This
I know the fire
is an-
department's doing inspections now.
They are.
Does that money go in the general fund?
It does. So the question to the auditor is not about what goes to the general fund. It's whether we can bill the capital improvement fund back to the general fund, and that's an audit question. So
Right.
it's been asked.
But,
We'll
you
have it
know,
answered.
it's gonna help out.
It will, I agree, and it would help out if we could bill the time
It'll
that,
just help out the landfill.
that Mr.,
considerably.
it would also help if Mr. Justine's engineering costs could be billed to capital improvement.
Sure.
If the landfill costs could be billed to capital improvement, but this is an audit question.
Okay.
It's one tax fund to another, so we're waiting on that answer.
Thank you.
But thank you for
Thank you,
the
Councilman.
suggestion.
Councilman Trujillo, do you have questions?
This is always so confusing. Has Cedar Ridge done any work for us before, just because I don't remember seeing them?
They have, a few years ago, they did all the corners going up Nevada.
Okay.
And they also did, last year, I think they did, I wanna say it was phase 4. So they've done work for us, so they're very competent, good firm, they do good work.
Just some background on that. And EGD, I have seen the finishing work at the county. So, yeah, so the work
And
looks
the
very
community
good.
center as
And the
well.
community center, yeah. It looks well, both are very good companies, so. Thank you, that's all I have.
That's all I have too, Bob, thank you.
Mayor, if the motion could reflect EGD in the motion, if should
I
you
would,
choose to make one.
I make a motion to accept the bid submitted by EGD Construction for curb cuts and sidewalk phase 6 project number 03-2026.
I'll second.
Call?
Peters,
Yes?
Rosetti,
Yes.
Shu,
Yes.
Truhill,
Yes.
Lenore,
Yes.
Williamson,
Yes.
Michaels.
Yes. Thank you.
I'm gonna stay here because I have the next
Okay,
one.
here you go. Item AE, consideration for the request for bid, RFB, submitted to Trinidad Construction Group for the Los Niños Walking Trail, Phase 1, project number 16-2025.
So council, this project is basically, we installed the pickleball courts, but per ADA, you have to have ADA accessibility, so, it's basically 2 ADA parking spaces, on our property, you know, that we own. Sidewalk that leads up to the new courts, and then from the courts it leads to the pit bathroom that's, further, south of the courts. Ultimately, or the total project phase 2 will be a trail that will tie to this, that'll go completely around Los Niños Park. But this project is just to get the ADA and get the pickleballers using the pickleball courts. The lights are installed, just as a heads up, that was done by staff, Power Light did a great job, so
We're one
Thank
step
you.
closer.
we are.
Thank you. We'll start with Councilman Trujillo. Do you have a question?
The difference is, obviously the difference is huge on one of them. Just trying to figure this out here. Now, this was bidded out by the formal bidding process or the informal bidding process?
This was a formal bidding process, and the reason it was a formal is we weren't sure, it could go over 100,000, as you see, we have one bid that is over 100,000.
Okay.
The formal bid process is, it basically dots our i's and crosses our t's, in my opinion, because we have a full set of specs that we're prepared for this project. Informal, it does not have to, at least, sometimes you're not bidding apples to apples on the informal process. This, I honestly can say, it's apples to apples, you know, it identifies exactly what needs to be done.
Okay.
There's a complete set of plans that was done in-house, so.
Okay, and everybody had the same opportunity with,
Yeah.
with the bidding. We did, on the alternate bid, those were added later?
They were at it at the same time.
Okay.
We put those adults on there because, we think that our staff could do it, but they're kind of short right now. There's, Public Works is short again. So we wanted to see what kind of price, the contractor could do, so, it's entirely up to, you know, Tara. If we execute those adults, we don't have to. Richie said he could do them, so he feels confident doing it, so it's like I said, he's running short-handed right now, and, that's what an adult is. You can basically do it if you want. If you don't want to do it, you don't have to execute it.
And the alternatives are for the project Colonel Simpleman came forward and presented to you to install the exercise equipment and then to install the rubber mats.
Yeah, I was confused with the expenditure versus the actual bids from the top, so they didn't match, I was kinda confused.
With
So,
the 90,
that makes sense now.
with the 90-ish timeframe, there's a concern that Public Works is gonna be really tied down this summer, particularly with us being short, so we wanted options.
Thank you, I appreciate it, thank you.
Thank you. Councilman Pizarro?
This is a difficult one for me, mainly because I was told something yesterday, told something else today, so I really don't know where to go for it. I'm gonna let everybody know I'm voting no on this tonight, but that's my choice. This ordinance that this applies to needs to be looked at. I think it's very broken and needs to be rewritten. So as far as that, I'd like to say something, but I don't want to cause any trouble or get myself in trouble.
I appreciate that.
So I'm gonna pass it.
Thank you, Councilman.
What ordinance?
Councilman
Or
Sherman?
the one,
He's talking about the code.
the code.
Oh, okay.
751 or 752?
Yes, sir.
Yep, absolutely, and, yeah.
Okay.
I don't have any questions.
Now you should, Councilman Peters?
I have no idea because I have not seen the request for proposal, the contracts, or anything, so I have no questions. I don't have the information to make a logical decision, so.
Thank you. Councilwoman Fenwar?
I have, my usual question when the bids are far apart is, did we do a walkthrough? And did all the bidders attend it?
So Cedar Ridge was not, this was a non-mandatory bid. Cedar Ridge was not there. And the rest of the three bidders were the Trinidad Construction, Mentor, and EGD. Let me go one step further, Councilman Benor.
Yeah.
The reason we don't make, this is in our world, a very simple project. If we start telling that they gotta be mandatory, we may end up and only get one bid because Eric might be out in Kim doing a project, and if he's not there for the mandatory pre-bid, then we can't accept the bid from him. Now, go one step further, if the projects are more complicated, then yes, we absolutely make them mandatory, but this project is basically the removal of sod. The placement is basically concrete. It's a fairly simple project. I know Councilman Peters asked me at the work session if there's gonna be a work change order. I don't anticipate one. I can't guarantee it, but it's a very straightforward project. It's not like Church Street and Convent where we're digging down 25 feet. We don't know what we're gonna get into. So, anyway, that's the reason we don't make this type of project mandatory to bid. It was a non-mandatory, so that's like I said, Cedar Ridge did not show up, but you know what? They gave us a bid and we're appreciative of it, you know?
I just ask that question anytime I see bids that are twice as much as below bid. That's
You know,
just the question I ask.
I think Mr. East's bid is, I think he probably has got his plate full with the first two projects. And it's typical contractor, if you bid it high, if you get it, he'll figure out a way to do it, but it's a logic that a lot of contractors do, you know?
Fair enough, thank you.
Thank you, Councilwoman. Councilman Williamson?
Bob, we mentioned that for the public record, at least that's my perception, we mentioned for the public record in the last, for the sidewalk one, the bid costs, we didn't mention those publicly. Can you just read those for the record where the bids came in? Unless I missed it, but I don't think we read those publicly.
For this project here? Okay, I'm sorry, I did not do
Do you need the
that.
sheet, Bob? I've got it here.
So Trinidad Construction was the low bidder at $61,030 at 10 cents. The next bidder was Minotaur Construction at $71,684.90. I brought these things, ought to use them.
He has to read his line to take.
Cedar Ridge was the next bidder at $85,477.50. And then the high bidder was Mr. East at $123,882.50. And we're making a recommendation that we accept the low bid on this project.
Okay, I mean, personally, I'm not disagreeing with anybody at all, but I mean, from my experience, and I do have a fair experience with writing RFQs, or Ps, whatever process you want to use. But I mean, what I see is two bids that are fairly close to 61, 71, and then an 85 has by an absent bidder. And also they have to, the two that are close are local, and then the remote is covering some per diem, I imagine. And then I think the outlier would be the person that was saying, if I get this, it absolutely has to be worth my while. Or they were respectfully removing himself from the process by being intentionally high. So, I mean, I see it as a good competitive bid. So I appreciate the effort of all those involved, and look forward to seeing the final project.
Thank you. And I'm good, Mr. Just.
So thank you, Mr. Just.
Thank you.
Thank you, Bob.
Any
Make a
motions?
motion that we bid, take the low bid.
Second.
Call?
Peters,
Yes.
Rossetti,
No.
Shu,
Yes.
Truhill,
No.
Benor,
Yes.
Williamson,
Yes.
Michaels.
Yes. Thank you, everybody, for that process. Item number 9, reports by city manager and city attorney.
Papers got buried. Thank you, Madam Mayor. I have a shorter report this week, but I wanted to take a few minutes to recognize the gas department for particularly Steve Carreau, Jean Torres, Bill Van Slyke, and the employees Jason, Dade, PJ, Santiago, Brody, and Daniel. They hosted city council. It was a non-mandatory tour. It was over 5 hours, so thank you for those of you who went out in the field to 9 different stops and looked at it. They provided an opportunity for us to learn more about this important municipal enterprise, so I appreciate the gas department. Our next listening session, it's been announced next Wednesday, April 15th at 6 p.m. at Space to Create. Looking forward to Councilmember Shu and Williamson. That should be fun. Bocce ball's underway. Hopefully the public's following our Facebook page to see how the teams are progressing, and we look forward to watching them as the field narrows. Registration for youth baseball is open. Right now, we've got a couple of different leagues, 4 to 5 year olds, 6 to 7, 8 to 10, and 11 to 13. You need to sign up by May 13. If you know a kiddo out there that needs or wants to play baseball, please send them to our community center. It's time to fish, ladies and gentlemen. The city's presenting team bass fishing at Trinidad Lake State Park, May 2nd and 3rd. Get signed up now. I know this was billed earlier as a local event, but I want to point out that most of those that have contacted us to sign up are actually coming from the region, from outside Trinidad. We're going to expect a few local teams, but primarily this was driven towards putting people in beds, and we have had regional teams sign up. So excited for that.
I was in kayaks.
I'm sorry.
Sorry.
Yeah, kayaks. Lots of kayaks. The city clerk's office is buzzing with kayaks right now. The bass fishing is $100 entry fee per team, and we have some pretty outstanding prizes. First place, 2,000, second place, 1,000, and third place, 500. Once again, want to thank Kimberly, Felicia, and Audra for putting this together, and in particularly Dave Garrett, who's kind of our subject matter expert on the fishing. We're also having youth team bass fishing tournament. It's free entry. It's on May 31st at Trinidad Lake State Park. You've got to be 17 and under. Sorry, guys. You can't fish in this one. It's $2,000 for first prize. This is great college money, right? So if you know a kiddo, it's $1,000 for second and $500 for third. We're preparing to bid out the approximate 1.5 construction project of the Santa Fe Multi-Use Trail. Santa Fe Multi-Use Trail, the portion we're bidding out, is starting at Holiday Inn and going down to Faith Christian Church. Depending on the bids, how they come in, we are doing an alternative bid that would take us from Saddle Road to Morris Canyon. So we have approximately $1.5 million in grant money, and you'll expect to see that bid out soon. We will do this project. It will be a priority this summer. That grant money expires at the end of the year. So we're gonna get that done. The CCI Summit comes to town June 3rd through 5th. So this summit is bringing 350 to 400 people to town. The summit is going to start the morning of Thursday, June 4th, go through the late afternoon of Friday, June 5th. Early bird registration's going so well that they're going to likely cap it soon. The registration fee is $200 to attend for both days. Is there anyone on council that would like us to go ahead and register you? If you have more questions, you can contact us. We've got the agenda. It's mostly focused on creative arts and creative entrepreneurship. So is there anyone who knows right off they would like to be registered to attend the events? Okay, we have the mayor.
Frank raised his hand too.
Frank's Mayor, we'll get you registered immediately. If any of you want to take the 2 days to go to the events, please let me know. And we'd like to get you registered in the next week or so that we can take advantage of that early bird pricing. Finally, 2 shout outs. I want to thank the fire department for the egg drop. Have you ever seen the egg drop? It was my first time to attend. All the kids from the COG Early Learning Center and their families create some sort of contraption to protect a raw egg. Miss Lopez's family participated in that this year. Her youngest had their final egg drop. So if you can imagine a firefighter at the very top of the ladder dropping the contraption that the family created while all the kids watch to see if it goes splat or if it survives. This year the fire department participated with their own. They had a trash can on fire. It was a burning trash can with an egg down in it. It did survive, so yay for the fire department. It was the dumpster fire egg. So the next work session will include a couple of different things. In closing, the ADA transition plan. Those folks will be here to talk about what that draft is going to look like and what the discussion is and what the public feedback's been. This is one of those final steps in our ADA process. The building code, Shauna will be back and she will have a presentation. We didn't get to see the presentation last time. We also have answers that came out of our public meeting that we should be able to provide. And then it's almost the annual review of the city manager, which happens on May 5th. So Cassie Coleman, our HR manager, will be presenting. You need to approve the criteria upon which you want to rate the city manager. Once you approve that criteria, we will be following the charter exactly, which says the public has an opportunity to provide feedback on the city manager's review, which happens on Tuesday, May 5th. Okay, that's what I have.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Counselor?
Thank you, Mayor, council members, real quickly. I just want to let you know that we have had a number of council members touch upon CML positions on pending legislation. And of course, this being the first week of April, there's a lot of pending legislation in the legislature. And I want to say, I believe on April 27th,
yes,
in a work session, we will be discussing a lot of the pending legislation still at the legislature so that council can have consensus on those items that you oppose or those items that you support, and that all of you can weigh in if in fact you choose to do so on any of those pending matters. And I believe that the mayor and Ms. Marshall will be presenting on that primarily. I'll be presenting on some of those things, but it will be mostly the mayor and Ms. Marshall. I do want to say I will respond to Mr. Moore. He was talking about the Robert's Rules of Order and why council doesn't interest people. That's not really Robert's Rules of Order that speaks to that, but I will speak to that later just because that's what we do. The last thing I want to say is I'm not going to be here next week. I'm going to be on a staycation. Sorry, so I'll be here, but I'm trying to not work, so those items that Tara mentioned, you guys will have to talk without me, and I'm sure that will be better. And that's all I have. Thank you.
Pass those out.
Thank you both, Tara and Les. Item number 10, adjournment. We adjourned at 8.
Next point of order, I think we need a motion to adjourn.
Oh, yes, we need a fourth one, yes. So moved. Second. Okay.
Peters,
Yes.
Rosetti,
Yes.
Shu,
Yes.
Trahell,
Yes.
Benoit,
Yes.
Williamson,
Yes.
Minnick.